Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the BioTouch Healing Health Condition Workshop for the month. My name's Paul,
Oh, hello, this is Bev.
and we are going to be your guiding forces to learn about how to work with plantar fasciitis.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've done this workshop before, but it is the number one Google search on our website, like
Great.
hundreds every month. So we
That's
thought,
crazy. Here
yeah.
we are. Yeah,
So we
good.
thought we would do it again with our wonderful Dr. Julia Anderson, a physical therapist, and she does a wonderful, wonderful presentation. And then we're going to teach you the sets of points that you can use for this particular plantar fasciitis. And if you want to download the workbook, go to justtouch.com/workbook. And I think it's also going to be available just online. Look up plantar fasciitis on our website, and we're going to have the workbook available all the time. So you don't have to have a special code to get it. So,
Oh.
all right. So we're going to just jump right in with Julia, and then Bev and I will be back to share with you more on how to use BioTouch with this particular situation.
Yep.
Well, hello everybody. This is part of the plantar fasciitis workshop, and we have with us Dr. Julia Anderson, physical therapist. Hello, Julia.
Hi there.
So we're just going to let you get right into talking about it. Let us know a little bit about who you are and where you're from, and take it away.
Thank you, Paul. I want to say, first of all, that this is new for me, but it's really an honor to be able to talk and be a part of your BioTouch program. So thank you.
Right on.
I am Julia Anderson. I'm a physical therapist, and I have my doctorate also in natural health. And I've been practicing for, uh-oh, 41 years. I can't even, I look so young for that, I'm sure. But I wanted to say that one of the things that I did as I've been practicing physical therapy is I really love the expanded awareness of healing, like the consciousness of the energy and spirit, and how you can't heal without looking at the whole picture. I mean, you heal, but you heal so much faster and more profoundly by having the bigger picture. So I would say that some of the ideas and some of the things that I'll be talking about might be a little bit outside the realm of your average physical therapist, but I'm proud of that. I would not want to practice any other way. So I look like I'm looking straight up. Oh, up here? Okay. Is that little light? Sorry. Okay, so we're going to talk about plantar fasciitis, and I first always like to look at the mechanics. Um, I'm a manual therapist, and I've been practicing for a long time, and I found that there are certain things that are the most helpful when dealing with plantar fasciitis. So we're going to first start by discussing the mechanics. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so we're going to overview the anatomy because that makes more sense of than looking at the mechanics. And then last of all, we're going to just talk about the things that I found to be the most powerful and helpful in the treatment of plantar fasciitis and to getting the quickest results. Next. All right. So when we look at the anatomy, it's always great to review anatomy. I love having posters up in my treatment room because I can show people, and I can also just kind of review. So after 40 years of just looking at anatomy, you kind of get it pretty good, but it's still nice to always have a visual. And what I want you to look at is all the muscles in the back of the foot. And if you were to divide the foot, the leg, there's probably like 4 times the muscles in the back compared to the front. So if you even look at your foot, you can, look at your own leg, you can see there's only really the tibialis anterior, balancing a lot of the muscles that are in the back. And this ties in really powerfully when you're looking at what happens with the plantar fascia. So if every muscle and everything in the leg is contained by fascia. So first we want to have a muscle balance, the most optimal muscle balance between the back of the foot and the front. And normally it's like 4-to-1. But with plantar fascia, you'll often see it with like cyclists or horseback riding, where they have a pedal that, or a stirrup they put their foot in, and or you're been standing on a ladder too long, and it stretches from the back of the leg and takes that fascia, which connects through the Achilles tendon, around the heel, and all along the bottom of the foot. So if you're looking at the anatomy, you want to think first muscle balance, and then you want to think about how the fascia is all playing in together and putting excessive stress on the bottom of the foot, but it's all connected from the bottom of the foot all the way through the calf. Yeah, okay. Go to the next one. I wish I could have people asking questions. That's okay. All right, so fascial connections, we were starting to talk about that. And if you look at these little pictures on the top right side, you'll see some examples of how the plantar fascia is connected around. Its main connection is at that bottom of the calcaneus, that point they call a heel spur. And so heel spurs is chronic growth, chronic stress of the plantar fascia that over time makes a bone growth. So this happens everywhere in the body. So if you have chronic stress at the knee or the fingers, so wherever the bone is getting pulled on by the tendon, the bone grows to meet that stress, to address that. And so this is a component really of plantar fasciitis, where over time it can also develop into a pretty gnarly heel spur, which becomes another thing to try and manage also. But if we can address plantar fascia tendonitis and issues like that first, then hopefully the tendonitis or the heel spur won't develop. But think about how that strap of coming down along the whole calf narrows into the Achilles tendon and then goes underneath the heel, along the bottom of the foot, connecting to each of the digits. And there is small muscles within the plantar fascia as well. So anyway, if you put too much pressure, let's say here's your, and there's pressure on this band of fascia, it's part of what supports the arch, then that's where you're going to trigger this inflammation, because it's just like constant stress. It's like you being in the splits for a day, and you're going to go, I can't even walk. My legs hurt too bad. So I just wanted to show you how with that one foot, you can see that image of how there's a space underneath that plantar fascia. Just so you know that that's kind of what we're looking at and playing with, and how that will tie into a correct arch and things like that.
So is that there is a space in there then between that bone and that?
Yeah,
fascia?
well, it's filled with tendons, muscle tissue, connective tissue, this thick, fatty kind of tissue too that helps to create the bottom of the foot. So yeah, but it is stuff that gives. So like when you're standing on a ladder, you can see how that might just stretch that area. All right. Yeah, so it's not an open space. So next we look at things that the mechanics. So we kind of looked at the anatomy, so you kind of have a good visual. But if you see on the top left side, the pronation of a foot. I really wanted to give you this example because if you see an arch, so let's say you have an arch, and then you your bony structure kind of collapses, look at how much it goes from this wide to this wide. That's excessive stress along the bottom of the foot as well. And you can see how in the one picture with a severe pronation, you also have extra pull on the Achilles tendon. And pardon me. Oh, I have a sip of water. Flat foot. So on the right side of the PowerPoint, it says excessive pronation. And you can see how the arch drops versus on the left side, there's a little lift. So you can see how it would go from this wide. Now you're stretching that whole arch so that you're putting pressure on that whole plantar fascia. And then, so that person's already set up to have some issues. And if they're flat footed. Easier to trigger. That also means that that person's foot is mushy, kind of mushy. It doesn't have as much stability as another foot, a more rigid foot. I mean, you can have problems with too rigid as well, but we're looking for things that tend to trigger, and that would be too much of a flat foot. I love this image here. It's so clean of the foot on the bottom on the left side. That's the bottom on the left side of your screen too, right,
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it kind of gives us a nice image of how the muscle and the tendons and how it goes around the heel and extends all the way up to the digits. So that's a great image. And if you put too much pressure right on that bottom, then that can, it's like a bowstring. You're just like twanging it. Or, you know, if the arch drops, then you're stretching it that way too. Okay. Let me see if I have other images here. All right, let's go to the next one. The tight calf muscles. You get the feeling I'm banging a drum?
Yeah.
Yes, I am, because this is a lot of times what's just the trigger for it. I have a patient that just came in a week ago, and he was like a new girlfriend who likes horseback riding. So he went horseback riding, and he just obviously probably didn't have a stiff-soled boot. And that's one of the reasons you want a stiff-soled boot with horseback riding, is so that you're not getting that stretch on that plantar fascia. So he didn't have that because he's not really a horseback rider, but he spent a lot of pressure on the ball of his foot. Probably not exactly on the ball of the foot, probably more where it shouldn't be. But anyway, totally triggered his plantar fasciitis issue. So just want you to remember it's both, and that you want to start. And I think our next one should be, we're getting into treatment. This is, you're going to be like a superstar if you just even remember these things for people that you know. You know, I think the hardest thing is just getting people to believe you. What is, you know, it's like, I'm a physical therapist, do what I say. You know, maybe they might believe me more than just, hey, by the way, you could try this. Nobody likes the night splint. This is the image of the night splint. And I put this up because to me, in healing plantar fasciitis, this is the number one thing to help. And the reason it helps is at night, we have, our feet tend to be down, you know, like a little bit plantar flexed. Plantar flexed is, you know, not at 90 degrees, right? It's just down. And then when you wake up in the morning, this is the single one most accurate indication that someone has plantar fasciitis, is you can't hardly put any weight on your feet, because when you're standing, then it goes to 90 degrees, and 90 degrees isn't the way it's been healing all night. At nighttime, it knits, it repairs, it heals. And then you stand up and it goes, and it's so extremely painful. Some people say they can barely walk to the bathroom. They have to hop, you know. But if you can have the foot at 90 degrees, that's why the image of this night splint, and they're about $15 on Amazon. There's different ones, but the main thing is you have to have your foot at 90 degrees so it heals. And then when you stand up, it doesn't rip out all the repair work that happened that night. So every night it's trying to heal. That's when the repair happens. And then every morning they stand up and they rip it out again. So the night splint, I mean, I just saw him yesterday. I saw him a week ago and I just saw him yesterday. He got his night splint. He'd had 3 nights using the splint. Awkward, but he already has 50% less pain. So if you know anybody who's had plantar fasciitis, these things can go on for months and months. This is like super important. It just allows the body to heal itself without being super disrupted. It's like having a cut in your arm, and then every morning you crack it open and you wonder why it's not healing. It's just, it has to have time to heal. And so this is a great way to do it. The other is I really love to do the deep tissue work to tolerance. I mean, you can't, make somebody hurt too much, but you definitely want to do some fascial release work, increase the circulation. So you can do things like massage foot and calf. You want to release the muscles in the back of the calf, because remember, those are the ones that are so tight and they pull that fascia on the bottom of the foot. It's like this unhappy dynamic duo. You have to somehow get the calf muscle to release. Passive stretching tends to then irritate the bottom of the foot, because everybody knows about the runner stretch and it's all passive. So the most effective way is actually to do dynamic stretches. And the dynamic stretch is when you're actively contracting and bringing your toes up towards your knees, bringing your whole foot up. It's like the front of your leg. That's the anterior tibialis. And when you're actively contracting the front of the foot, you are passively, and the body's signaling the calf to release. If the calf releases, then it takes the stress off of the bottom of the foot. So deep tissue work to the calf, most people they'll have tightness in the calf, but they could handle quite a bit of work on the calf. Almost everybody's calf is too tight. And remember, the dynamic stretches are the safest because it's less irritating to the fascia on the bottom of the foot, but you're creating a new muscle balance. So instead of overly strong, huge calf muscles, too tight, and the front of the leg weak, you are strengthening. So you can, I just even have people lift your foot up, hold it isometrically, hold it for 7 seconds, and then relax. And you can do that like 10 times. Hold, and then relax. Because that's going to increase the strength through isometric contraction to the front of the leg, and then those big, gnarly calf muscles will be through a neural loop saying, release, release, relax, and they're happier. So, okay. Just one more thing under massage foot is you can get little balls, like a racket ball or kind of a squishy ball that are, maybe about that big, and you can just roll it around on the bottom of the foot. You can kind of do pressure releases, just kind of increasing the circulation to the bottom of the foot, encouraging it to heal and release those toxins that have been building up down there. And so another trick that everybody seems to really like that has a lot of pain is a bottle of water, those little bottles of water, put it in the freezer, and then take it out and then roll the bottom of your foot over that frozen bottle of water. So it's getting ice massage. That's lovely. It helps with the inflammation process. Orthotics. If someone has a flat foot, they're like swimming upstream to try and heal. So think about good or pair of orthotics. Now I use FootMax orthotics because I've been using them for like 20 years. I love them. They were ahead of all these other orthotics as far as I'm concerned. And I'll tell you why. Big secret. I'm starting to see this actually like on Facebook and different places where other people are getting more knowledge and they're correcting it where it should. So this is an orthotic that is a non-prescription from FootMax. And it's pretty good arch. I mean, you can, like, if I was to show you, it takes a bit to bend it, right? But the key is, so let's see if I can show you. This is the inside. This is it doesn't matter if it's left or right, but this is the inside and has a pretty significant arch. But right here at the heel, it starts to raise up. It's not hollowed out right here. This is where the calcaneus sits. If the calcaneus drops too far in, you're going to just be putting pressure directly on the plantar fascia. So some people, if they get the wrong designed orthotic, it's like it makes it worse because it has to be corrected right here at the posterior edge of the heel. Not very many of them are made correctly. I did see they're getting more aware of this, and hopefully there's going to be more and more correctly made orthotics, but it has to be supported in the medial aspect of the heel. Otherwise, you're just going to be collapsing at the heel and then going over a bump. And that's just going to irritate the poor plantar fascia because it doesn't need that. All right. If people have more questions about orthotics, I'm happy to answer them, but it's so helpful. Okay. Grounding. Sometimes, theoretically, you could say grounding is one of the issues that creates the problem that facilitates the creation of the plantar fascia. So I would also have them do grounding exercises. I don't know if any of you are aware of the grounding mats. I love them. They help with grounding and getting the energy through, even if you're just to do a yoga and you do visualizing and grounding the energy all the way through into the center of the earth. It's got to open up that energy flow.
So is it helpful to just go walk out on the land?
Oh yeah, you guys out in Arizona where it's still warm, but don't get any cactus in your feet. Yeah, up here it's harder. I mean, I actually have a grounding blanket, and it has been so powerful for me because 9 months out of the year it's too cold to go outside and do it. Yeah, no wonder we're all so weird up here. But grounding. So think about the energetics of the area that is the most painful is our chakra and energy grounding connection. All right. Other things that help are dry needling, and that's kind of where we take the needle, like an acupuncture needle, and put it right into where it's in the most seized up. And that's kind of what the doctors would do with a cortisone injection. I hate to do that. I do dry needling, but I hate to treat the bottom of the foot. Even if you go in from the side, it's so painful. And I found that if I'm doing all of these other things, you know, people get better fast and it helps them so much. So I try and avoid, that's why I put it last. I think it's the most painful and maybe not even necessary if you're doing the other things. And so that's why I put the night splint first, night splint. Let the body heal itself and stop ripping out the healing. And last but not least, if needed, at least there is some other options that could help with intervention, but prefer not to.
Wow. Now that was some good information. So you know about BioTouch. So how does something like a BioTouch, touch healing therapies, energetic kind of healing, do you think that's beneficial for these kinds of situations, plantar fasciitis?
Oh, absolutely. Even if you're kind of moving the energy through the meridians, you're moving the opening up the flow. I mean, because again, I have the grounding because in our society, it's unless someone's really trying to be a hippie and get out there and feel nature, a lot of times we're just not getting the grounding we need, you know? So I think the BioTouch and other similar types of things could be so powerful. I really, I believe in the power of touch, and I'm getting emotional now because just thinking about all the therapists out there now that don't even learn any of this. They don't do it. They just say, oh, that person just wants a feel-good treatment. And I'm like, well, aren't we supposed to help them feel good? You know, and it's just so sad when they're not even teaching the PTs this. And I had a new therapist work with me. She was a couple years ago, and then we split ways because we just so different. And she just was taught. There's nothing beyond what she learned in school, and all of it is exercise. I said, you're just a glorified exercise person. I mean, and not that exercise, physiology isn't great. It's just there's so many possibilities of helping, and why wouldn't we want to be able to offer more than just being a glorified exercise person? And so I think that touch is so important.
Right
Sorry, I don't
on.
know if I get emotional, except that this is my soapbox.
Right on. And we're glad you came here to stand on your soapbox, truly. That you've been totally inspirational, Dr. Julia, and we appreciate the time that you've come to spend with us, to share with us about an issue I think a lot of people have, and you gave us this holistic look at it. So
Sorry, I got so emotional, but I just love that you guys are doing this and that you're saying touch heals, especially touch with intention, touch with love and compassion. So powerful. And you think about the last 2 years, COVID, nobody's touching each other. We're doing all this tele crap, and no one's getting the treatments that they need. It's sad. I mean, not no one, but
I hear you. Sure, huge population.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're gonna check out here and teach everybody how to do some BioTouch at home with their family and their friends. So thank you very much, Julia.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. I love it. She's amazing. Just amazing. Oh, you're muted. Amazing. There you are.
I'm trying to just turn it. Okay. I don't want to hear myself and that, right? Yeah, I
Yep.
had forgotten a lot of that information, not really forgotten, but you know what I was thinking when I was watching her or listening to her. As a BioTouch practitioner, I'm like, well, we've all worked with recipients who have plantar fasciitis. I mean, I know a bunch of us
All
out
right.
at the center have. But listening to her now, it's like I really will focus on all that calf to the toes track,
Right.
because we work along those nerves anyway when we do extra work and stuff. So yeah, that was really kind of cool. I mean, I can really go in there. Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to show you some points and then talk really how to work locally. I'm not sure we'll show the video, but we'll talk about it because local work is what she was really talking about. But let's
Yeah.
show you a few other sets of points that would really help in getting the process going. You can pull up the workbook, justtouch.com/workbook, and Bev's going to take us through those few sets of points. And take it away, Bev.
Okay. So if you do have the workbook, you'll see on that first page, we always like to give a synopsis, an overview of the condition that we are presenting. So it's some good information just to kind of set the stage for you. So let's go into this next page where, for those of you who are new with us, we always like to go over some just basic points with you. Remember, BioTouch is a real simple hands-on technique that can actually address every single thing the body can um, uh, come up with. I don't got what word I'm using here. Anyway, it's using the first two fingers of both hands, touching lightly on the skin like a butterfly. One person touching another. That's the definition, lightly on the skin. So let's go to this first bullet. BioTouch is easy to learn. Well, that's what we say. It's easy to learn, and you can learn to use it and be very effective. That's the beauty of it, is you're going to find out. Even children, and we have had children go through our classes, so that's quite a testimony, I think. The second one, BioTouch is a complement to any healthcare program. BioTouch is very integrated with any healthcare program you may be using, whether it's a diet, or another modality, or other modalities, prescriptions, whatever it is that you're doing on your healing journey. BioTouch is just going to enhance it. It's non-invasive. It will only make your healing journey so much more effective. So that's, we have no problem. We have lots of recipients who are doing other things. And as you will see, we always like to encourage everybody to work with their doctor, or, whoever is working with them. It's very important. The next bullet, BioTouch has no levels of ability. This is one of the really amazing gifts of BioTouch. It belongs to every single one of us. We already have it within us to be able to learn BioTouch and to practice it anywhere with anyone. And the moment that you learn it, you're going to be effective. That is just amazing. It's a very unique healing technique, we like to say. So there's no special training except just learning where the points are on the body. You don't have to know anatomy. This is very, very basic. BioTouch does have its own language, but it's designed so that anybody can learn BioTouch. That's the beauty of it. The last bullet, it requires no special preparation. You do not have to have a particular belief system, philosophy to practice BioTouch. In fact, it kind of gets in the way. BioTouch, as you're going to find, is just being present in the moment with another human being. And it doesn't matter it breaks down all those barriers that we've noticed. So you just have to have those two fingers and a desire to help another person with their stress, with their pain. That's really basically the fundamentals of BioTouch. When you begin to do a session with someone, we always urge you to wash your hands before anything else. Wash your hands. Remember, it's one person touching another lightly on the skin. Every single session, it doesn't matter how many sets you're going to do, we always want to start with what is called the greeting. That's going to be the first set that we're going to introduce to you tonight. Again, first two fingers, like a butterfly. So there are 17 sets of points to address everything the body can manifest. And within each set, there are specific points on the body that are going to be touched. We want to ask you to hold each point 6 to 8 seconds. That's the magic number. Again, it can be practiced anywhere, anytime, anybody. It's amazing. So we are going to, that's the preliminary. Of course, you can look at our whole manual and get some more information, but tonight, this is what we're going to introduce for this particular condition. The terms used in the manual, we don't go over those. Those are usually what we go over in training, but we do like to point out the first two bullets. BioTouch is a healing relationship. There are two people involved. 50-50. One receives, one gives. It doesn't matter. Both of those partners are going to equally give and receive. So the associate, this first bullet, the associate is the person who performs the procedures. This is the one that's doing the touching. And so we use it because there's a couple different definitions that the dictionary describes. One of them is one often in the company with another, implying an intimacy or equality. Remember, it's a relationship. That's very important. It equalizes everything when you start to practice BioTouch with another person. And the second one is one having an interest in common with another. Two people get together, practice BioTouch together. What they have in common is their humanness, the willingness to come together. So that is called the other person in that relationship we call the recipient, the one who is receiving biotouch. So the associate and the recipient are the two people involved in that relationship of healing called biotouch. So Paul, I think you can explain something to them, right?
Yep. So this manual, this workbook is created. There's 2 pages for each set of points. You see here the greeting, okay, has 2 different pages. One page is the drawing that has little numbers on them, which are the points that you're going to touch. At the bottom of that page, it tells you to touch point 1, to touch point 2, but you'll notice at the bottom of each of these pages it says click here to watch the video, and that will take you to the video that we're going to watch. On the second page you have a photograph of somebody doing some of the points and which point they're touching, and it also has in words where to locate those points. And again, at the bottom of the second page is also a link that takes you right to the video. So you have words, you have pictures, you have drawings, and you have videos. It's really quite easy to continue learning BioTouch even after this class.
Right. So as I said in the beginning, we're going to, we always want to start a session with this first set that we're going to present. It's called the greeting, and this is in that relationship where the recipient and the associate kind of establish a harmony between them. As you're going to see in the video, we're always going to use both hands except for the greeting. It's only one hand, and it is your dominant hand. There's only 2 points to the greeting, so you're going to use the same hand for both. So we can go ahead and watch the video of the greeting.
The greeting is always performed at the beginning of each session. It's the only set that uses one hand and the only set that indicates which hand to use. The greeting is performed with the dominant hand. If you are right-handed, use your right hand. If you are left-handed, use your left hand. The greeting is made by touching at point 1, which is in the fleshy area just below the bottom of the breastbone or sternum. Hold this point for 6 to 8 seconds. Then, with the same 2 fingers, touch point 2 on the back. To find point 2, look for the big bone at the base of the neck. From here, move 1 to 1.5 inches to the left. This is point 2. Hold this point for 6 to 8 seconds. More than one associate may work with a recipient provided that all of the associates perform the greeting. If the associate or the recipient leaves the session, or if someone who hasn't done the greeting touches either the recipient or the associate, the greeting must be reestablished. Then the session may proceed from where it was interrupted.
Okay, so we've given the greeting, and now we're going to talk to you about the second set that we just recommend for plantar fasciitis. It's called the metabolism set, and this is just a great set overall for the body. It really helps the body to assimilate things that it needs or to eliminate what it does not want. So this is a great one to start with, and I think that we should just watch the video so you can see somebody doing this set. Let's go.
The metabolism set can be used to help the body assimilate what it needs and eliminate what it doesn't need. The metabolism set has 2 steps. Step 1 involves touching points in matching fire along the large muscles on the front of the neck. Points 1 and 1 are located above the collarbone in the soft indentations on both sides of the notch at the top of the breastbone. Points 2 and 2 are halfway up the neck on the front of the large muscles. Points 3 and 3 are at the top of the neck on the front of the large muscles. The second step involves holding a point on the front of the body and touching points next to the spine on the back. hold point X on the front of the body is on a line directly between where the nipples would be on a youth and is 1 to 2 inches to the left of the breastbone. Another way to find X is 1/3 of the way up the breastbone from greeting point 1 and 1 to 2 inches to the left of the breastbone. The points on the back are located next to the spine, forming a rectangle around the breakover point. The breakover point is where the bottom of the rib cage joins the spine and can be found by imagining a line directly through the body from greeting point 1. To perform step 2, find hold point X on the front of the body and touch points 1 through 4 on the back. Point 1 is approximately 1 to 2 inches up from the breakover point on the left spine muscle. Point 2 is directly across from point 1 on the right spine muscle. Point 3 is 2 to 3 inches below the breakover point on the right spine muscle. Point 4 is used to address blood sugar problems and is added to the other metabolism points when needed. It is located across from point 3 on the left spine muscle.
Okay, the next set is the stress and anxiety set. Of course, when you are, I don't have plantar fasciitis, but I understand it can be very painful. And when that happens, it really puts the body under stress, emotional stress, mental stress. So this is a really, really good set. As you can see, it's very, very simple, but it's very effective. So this would be a good one to use for sure. Let's go ahead and watch the video.
The stress set may be used to address any manifestation of physical, emotional, or mental stress, as well as anxiety and shingles. Hold at X, which is in the fleshy area just below the bottom of the breastbone. It is the same as greeting point 1. Then with the other hand touch points 1 and 2, which are the same points as in the heart set. These points are found by imagining a line running from the notch at the top of the breastbone to a place on the left breast where the nipple would be on a youth. Divide this imaginary line into thirds. Point 1 is at the top of the first third. Point 2 is at the top of the second third. These points may be touched repeatedly, and remember to touch each point for at least 6 to 8 seconds.
Okay, so we're going to come on here. We're going to show you how to do local work now.
Yeah.
Because in the manual, there's a very specific set you'll look at local work and extra work. Let me just show it to you here for a minute. We're going to talk about, whoops, that's not the one I want. Stop that and show them. So if you see there in that picture on the bottom right, you'll see how somebody's holding 2 fingers down there around the sacrum, the tailbone area, and then 2 fingers are on that foot. They're on the ankle here, but you could take 2 fingers on that little lower part of the back and put 2 fingers on that where the plantar fascia is, or you could also keep the 2 fingers on that low back and take the other 2 fingers and go slowly sweep. That's a slow and deliberate movement with the 2 fingers, and you could go along the back of that muscle that she talked about over there, okay? And that would be how you start to work with the plantar fasciitis problem. Then you take both fingers, and then locally you could just sweep. As you see my finger slowly moving across an affected area, you could go along the whole back of that calf, and then you could come down into the Achilles area and then into the plantar fasciitis, and then you could just touch up and down, side to side. You could do slow sweeps. What did she talk about? Massage the foot and the calf.
Right.
So if you think about a massage, just think of touching lightly like a butterfly in that same area.
That's right. You know, we're learning a lot about fascia anyway. We're learning. I'm sorry. We've learned a lot about fascia anyway. Working with a lot of massage therapists who do that deep tissue massage, and really having respect for what she was talking about earlier about everything is held together through that fascia. So, I mean, when you do biotouch, we have had too many testimonials telling us that when they use biotouch, the fascia what opens up. So you,
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go. and
yeah,
and then everything just sort of relaxes.
yeah,
And then you do all these other things she talked about. You put that little boot on there. You can do the dynamic stretching. Yeah, another good thing I've learned too is while people are doing their stretching exercises,
yeah,
you could be touching that low back and that muscle as they're moving, or you put the two fingers on the ankle or the foot and they're moving, they're doing the exercise while you're making the connections in the body.
right, cool.
Yeah.
Should we mention that the reason that we're telling them to touch that lower back is because that's a source of the nerves to the lower extremities. So yes,
And
yeah,
then usually if you have plantar fasciitis, you're going to have a low back problem.
right.
Because you're walking cockeyed. So
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
if you don't even know the whole back set, you take two fingers and just touch locally all around that low back where the muscles are. You can come sweep down each side of the spine. You could come from the spine and go out. You could touch two fingers on that sacrum area and two on each side of the hips. I mean,
Yep.
there's all kinds of things you could do even
Kinds.
without knowing the whole back set, But we
Right.
do have a back set that can help the whole back align itself,
Yep.
from walking cockeyed like
You're
that.
living proof of that.
Yeah.
You're walking proof of that, I should
I
say.
might be walking better, but I'm still cockeyed.
Well, we won't go into that.
So anyhow, this has been a great workshop.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know you can get hold of Julia. I'm assuming she's still practicing at Sacred Living at msn.com. Sacred Living at msn.com, and I'm sure she'd be happy, even though she lives up in the mountains of Colorado, would be happy to help you or give you some advice on how to work with your own physical therapist in your
Right.
local community.
Right.
And then again, get hold of us. We can personally work with you. We can do a little Zoom with you if you have a problem. Office at justtouch.com. Go to justtouch.com to get more information about how you can learn BioTouch. And we're here usually the fourth Thursday of a month, but this is the holiday, so we're here. And it's online. You can share this with friends, and they'll be able to learn it themselves, even if they've never heard of BioTouch.
That's right. And the minute that you start using this with someone, you're going to be effective. Remember, there's no waiting time. Yeah.
And
Already
that's the
gonna-
key. Yep.
Yep.
It's going to be, you just go to it, just do it. Let us
Yep.
know how we can help.
That's it.
Again, thank you all. Thank you, Bev, for teaching us
Thank-
some points.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks,
And
everyone.
we'll see you all next month. Bye-bye.